All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Chakadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and who teach well. Much peace and mercy to the hopeful elect. All right. So the title of this video is going to be, if you don't go through nothing, how can the Lord build you up? Right? And it was just something that I was just meditating on. You know, if you don't go through nothing, how can the Lord build you up? We have to go through things. We have to experience different trials and tribulations in order for the Lord to build us up. You know, if you don't go through anything, if you don't go through any adversity, right, and you just kind of walking on the earth, la 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 la, dee 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 dee, woo woo, then when all hell breaks loose, you're gonna bug out. You are going to bug out. It's not an if, and, or a but. So when you don't go through anything, it's gonna put you in a position where now when these different circumstances happen on the earth, right, you're not gonna know how to deal with them. But if you've been through some things, you've experienced some different trials and tribulations, and you just were just down and out and things like that, when the time really comes, then you are, oh wow, all right, I already kind of experienced something like this. This isn't that bad, you know? And even if it is that bad, it's still enough experience that you've obtained through the hell that you caught, right? In a different circumstance that have molded you into becoming prepared for that next adversity, right? So I'm going to start here. Sirach 2:1, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation, right? When you serve the Lord, you have to prepare yourself for these different things that will happen, you know? And one thing brothers always say, if you're not catching no hell, the Lord ain't dealing with you, you know? If you ain't catching no hell, the Lord is not dealing with you. I think of accounts like Daniel in the lion's den. I think of accounts of like Jonah in the belly of the fish, right? I think of different accounts in these scriptures. That's why the scriptures say the things written aforetime are written for our learning. Men of the Lord went through things, man. They had to, you go back to the Samuels, Kings, right? Elijah and Elisha. They went through things, you know? Look at David, King David. He caught all holy hell, right? For some things, and some things were because of his own actions. Your own actions can put you in a position where you are fucked up. But it's because the Lord wanted you to be in that position so that he can ultimately bring you up out of it. Right? Man's goings are of the Lord. Let's grab that. Proverbs. Whoops. This is oops, the wrong one. Proverbs 20 and 24. Man's goings are of Yahweh. How can a man then understand his own way? Right? So let's look at King David. Right? Before he became king, right? He had his different trials and tribulations. Saul was continually trying to take him out, right? So he caught hell before he became king. And then when he became king, what happened? He ended up taking Bathsheba, killing Uriah the Hittite, right? Committing sin, the two sins worthy of death, adultery and murder. So what happened? He ended up being pursued by his sons. He was on a run, right? He all of his wealth. And you got to understand, you're going from a high position in Israel to literally being on a run. So not only David, but also his men that were with him, they had to go through a lot of different trials and tribulations. Being mocked, being, shit was, talking shit. So after he went through all of those different things, what the Lord still brought him back. Still brought him back up, exalted him. He allowed his son to reign, which was Solomon. So you got to understand that just because certain accounts, some hell literally just come out of nowhere. Like, damn, flat tires, you know, shit, finances fucked up, right? Could be some different things. Oh, you got to pay for this thing. You got to pay for that thing, right? All these different things that may have happened. And then, too, like I said earlier, it could be your own actions. Your own actions can put you in a shitty ass position, whether it's with women or with money, right? Those are the two main things that will put you in all holy hell. And you're like, whoa, what the fuck? But because, it's all spiritual at the end of the day. It's all spiritual. So now you're thinking like, damn, man, is the Lord dealing with me? Woo, woo, woo. That's not the case. That's not the case. I read it. I'm going to read it again. Proverbs 20 and 24. Man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? So you can end up putting yourself in a fucked up position. Now you have to deal with it. We've all done it. We've all done it. But the scriptures say that a just man falleth 7 times and get back up again. When you trust and you believe in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, you doing the work, you going to camp, you doing you being brotherly charity. These are the things that matter. Because you gotta think, let's look at Job. Let's look at Job. Let's actually go to Job. Job chapter 1 and 1. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared the Most High and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, in a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all men of the East. So Job, he was balling, man. Job was balling. He had a big household. He had a huge family. He had a whole lump sum of wealth through his cattle and things like that. Right? And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned, and cursed the Most High in their hearts. This did Job continually. So what? He offered up sacrifices for them, because he knew, like, well, I don't know what's going on in their head, but I know, okay, at least I must try my best to keep my family out of sin. Verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And Yahweh said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. Right? So Satan is also a son of the Most High. You got a lot of people that say, oh, Satan rebelled against the Lord, and he was cast out into the depths of hell and all this other bullshit. But no, Satan is in order. He reports back to the Heavenly Father. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth the Most High and escheweth evil? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, doth Job fear the Most High for nothing? For naught, right? Hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increasing the land. So he said, look, Lord, you protecting him. Got his angels around him. You know what I'm saying? You bless his hand, he prospering, right? Of course he gonna fear you. He good. Verse 11. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. So Satan is telling the Lord, look, if you afflict him, I guarantee you he gonna curse you. He gonna fall out. He not gonna worship you no more. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. And when you continue into this account, it gives you the different things that happened to Job, which I can read it because this is relevant. You know? Remember, there is a spiritual world beyond the physical. There is a spiritual world beyond what we can see. The heavens. You got the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai, Satan. You got the different angels on the right hand. You got the different angels on the right hand. So they ain't up there just looking. They conversing. They got counsel. Right? Look at Kings. Right? The different angels. He came up to the Lord. He said, after this matter, different angel came up, said something after that matter. They up there having counsel. They're up there discussing things about what's going on the earth. You know? And this was one particular conversation about Job. So you can be doing everything that you think is right. And the Lord can have a bet with Satan and say, you know what? Just because you think that, all right, let's see it. Let's see. So now Job went through all of this hell. For what reason? Because the Lord wanted him to. He allowed Satan to touch his substance. He allowed Satan to, take his children, as you read on. So what? It left Job desolate. It left him low. The only thing he left was his damn woman. And you already know what the woman was, right? So I'm going to read down, man. Verse 13. And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the asses feeding beside them. And the Sabeans fell upon them and took them away. Yeah, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. So they came, slew the servants, took the asses and the oxen. Remember, it was 7,000 plus, right? So, verse 16, while he was yet speaking. So before he even finished saying what he was saying, another one came in. There came another also and said, the fire of the Most High is fallen from heaven and have burnt up the sheep and the servants and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. So you had the men Sabians on the earth. Then you had fire come from heaven and destroyed these sheep and the servants. Right? While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels and have carried them away. Yeah, and have slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. So you had multiple different occasions, right? You had the Sabians and the Chaldeans. You had the fire from the Most High in heaven. Satan threw fireballs down, right? While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. So literally Job lost every single thing that he had in one day. And Job arose, rent his mantle, and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground and worshipped, and said, naked came out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord Yahweh gave, and the Lord Yahweh taketh away. Blessed be the name of Yahweh. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. You see? So when you go through certain things, and then you can read the entire book of Job, it gives you accounts of the different things that happen, his conversations and his trials and his tribulations. That's what the entire book of Job is about. You have some prophecies, and then you have some different accounts as well. But Job lost everything, man. Lost everything. And what his latter end was actually, let's get his latter end. This is Job 42. Job, let's see here. Yeah, Job 42:10. And the Lord Yahweh turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Also, the Lord Yahweh gave Job twice as much as he had before. Right? Verse 12. I'm going to read down. Verse 11. Then came there unto him all his brethren, and all his sisters, and all they that had been of his acquaintance before, and did eat bread with him in his house. And they bemoaned him, and comforted him over all the evil that the Lord Yahweh hath brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold. So the Lord Yahweh blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep, and 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she asses. And he had also 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he came, and he called, and then he just gives the names of those. Yep. So that's the gist of it. So he received his substance back, his children as well. Right? So the latter end of Job was blessed. So you may have a time when you're catching hell. Or no, I'm gonna say this. You may have a time where prosperity is cool. You're doing what you need to do, going to camp, you're making video lessons, you may be fasting often, etc. Right? And then all of a sudden everything just goes to hell. And it could be with Job's sense, it was everything it was outside sources, the Sabians and the Chaldeans and the fire from heaven, and then the wind from the wilderness blew and killed the children. All of these different outside circumstances that put Job in a lower state. Right? It could be outside sources, and then in King David's sense, it can be from the inside, your own actions, your own mentality, right? Lord could have just put this. Hey, when you go to Chronicles, it said that the Most High sent Satan to tempt David to number Israel. So the Lord can send Satan to oh yeah, you should go ahead and do this, and you think it's the right thing to do, and it may not even be a sin. It just may be your spending might be you might be spending too much, or you might be let's say not using as much time towards this truth or whatever. I'm just giving you an example, and it puts you in a sense or a position where you're not operating like how you used to, and it's starting to derail you. So much so to now, you're looking at now when you really paying attention, you're like, oh shit, what the fuck? I'm fucked up. Like the instance with King David. When he saw Bathsheba, right? He said, bring me that woman. Bring me that woman. Took the woman, dealt with the woman, got her pregnant. He like, fuck, okay, I gotta do something about this. What did he do? Killed the man. So that it like, come on now. If King David was subject unto this type of circumstance, How much more us in these? We are in a way lower estate, physically, mentally, you know? So of course we're going to go through things. Of course we're going to be put in positions where certain decisions that we make aren't going to be the right decisions. And the Lord going to have to fuck us up for it. And keep us in that low estate as a test. So let's go back to Sirach 2, because I've been talking a lot. Sirach 2:1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. So you have to constantly endure. No matter what, you know, okay, I'm calling on the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai. Call Haloyim La Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. At the very end of the day, no matter what we go through, whether it's good or whether it's evil, call Haloyim Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Verse 3, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. That's why I brought out Job. Job was he was prospering at first, living good, eating. He was giving up sacrifices for his sons. Then everything was taken away. And what did he do? He rented his mantle, shaved his head, and he blessed the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. He said, naked came I in this world, and naked shall I go. The Lord gave, and the Lord taketh away, man. But guess what? Job was increased at his last end. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. So we have to be patient. So even though there's times where you were really doing well, really doing decent, you know, you just kind of operate and move, you know, there's going to be a time where you're really doing bad, really jacked up. But you got to be patient, you know. You can't just jump the gun. You can't just, you know, start acting out. Because ultimately, it is to refine you. You got to understand. Perfect. I'm going to just keep reading. Verse 5. For gold is tried in the fire, an acceptable man in the furnace of adversity. So when you put something in the fire, it's not going to feel good. It's going to hurt. It's going to be painful. Right? So as gold is tried in the fire, so are acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. So when you're being put in that furnace of adversity, you're going to feel like shit. You're going to feel unworthy. You're going to feel, you know, like you've been forsaken. But guess what? It's to push you forward. It is to push you forward so that when you are cleansed and purified, the Lord can then bring you up out of that position. You see? Verse 6, believe in him and he will help thee. Order thy way aright and trust in him. So you got to order your way aright. Even though you may be going through what you're going through, you still got to do your daily videos. You still got to fast. You still got to pray. You still got to make sure that, you know, you're being brotherly. You just cut everything. Oh, you know, man, I'm down and out, man. Fuck this, man. Oh, man, you ain't trying to do this no more. That's how you fall out the truth. You gave up because you feel like what you've been doing isn't worth it no more. Because you ain't prospering no more. And I brought that out in my previous video. Let's bring it out again. Sirach 11:25. In the day of prosperity, there is a forgetfulness of affliction. So when you prospering, you're not thinking about the times when you was down and out. You're not thinking about the times when it was hard. Everything's good. And in the day of affliction, there is no more remembrance of prosperity. So when you down and out, you fuck. You know what I'm saying? You can't go out to eat like that no more. You know what I'm saying? Your woman probably giving you all type of hell. You know, you know, whatever. Whatever the affliction is. You're not thinking about the good times. You're not thinking about the good times. You're not thinking about those moments when everything was smooth. You're thinking about the fucking hell that you catching. I'm like, fuck. Can't pay this bill, can't do that. Now you trying to, pinch shit together, trying to get things. But it's all for a reason. Like I read where it says when but thou mayest be increased at thy last end. And ultimately you're going to be increased in faith, man. Because you're going to see and know, like, damn, man, the Lord really, the Lord really worked. He really did that. And it was because it was necessary to purify you. Let me see something. Isaiah 48:10. Behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. You see? Yahweh Shai had to go through affliction. Right? The disciples who became apostles had to go through affliction. We have to go through affliction, man. And right now, it's better to catch hell now than catch hell when everyone else is catching hell. You see? Because when that time comes, oh yeah, it's over. That's all we're going to have is faith. If you have not faith in that day, yeah, it's a wrap. Because guess what? You're going to trust and believe in the shadow of Egypt. It's verse 7, Sirach 2:7. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy, and go not aside lest ye fall. So when you down, you lowly, pray to the Lord, man. Call Haloyim La Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, and wait patiently for his mercy. Because if not, if you derail and you try to find a method that is outside the truth, then that is when you fall and you might not get back up again, man. The elect is going to get back up again, though. The elect is not going to allow these trials and tribulations that we go through to sift them out the truth. Because the scriptures say that Satan cometh like a lion. Be sober, be vigilant. Your adversary, the devil, seeketh whom he may devour. You know, he told Simon, he said, Satan wished to shift you like wheat. But I prayed for thee, and when thou art strengthened or comforted, or when thou art strengthened, comfort thy brethren. I'm paraphrasing, just paraphrasing. Verse 8, it says, Ye that fear the Lord, believe him, and your reward shall not fail. And you know what, man? The best reward that we can get is that crown of life, man. There's no amount of money on this side. There's no amount of bad bitches on this side. There's no amount of fine wine and dining on this side that could compare to the crown of life that is promised and destined to the elect. There's no yacht. There's no trip to Dubai, the DR. You know, I was watching some YouTube shorts. You know, the condition over there in the Philippines is actually fucking terrible, bro. You know, look up the poverty in Philippines, and look at how those people are living right now. I can guarantee you, my last penny, your position over here in America is nowhere near as bad as it is over there. And a lot of them motherfuckers still smiling. You know what I'm saying? Because they've been living through it. They've been going through it. So we have to experience these lows within America, because America is nothing but a false reality of prosperity and peace and all these different things. And in actuality, when all said and done, there is no real prosperity in this place. There is no peace. We're all at the fucking bottom, scraping the bottom of the barrel, trying to get whatever is left out of it. And it ain't shit in here, man. That's why they use credit. That's why they continually print money, because it's all fake. Verse 9. Ye that fear the Lord, hope for good, and for everlasting joy and mercy. Verse 10, look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? And that's why I brought out the account with Joel. That's why I brought out the account of David. That's why I mentioned the account with Daniel in the lion's den. When these men were put in these very difficult positions, these straits, these uncomfortable circumstances, they held their faith, man. They continued to call upon the name of the Lord. And guess what? They were exalted at the end. How much more us in these shitty ass environments, in these shitty ass conditions? We're in the toes of iron and miry clay, man. This is the worst kingdom. This is the worst kingdom out of all of the heathen nation kingdoms. It went from gold to silver to brass, then to iron, and then to iron and miry clay. This is the worst captivity, man, because it's shitty, it's filthy, it's stank. So imagine these things and picture these things and really understand that this is the very end. We have to go through these things, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get tremendously worse. Daniel 12:1 says it's going to be like a time like never before. So imagine all of the different captivities we went through, all of the different trials and tribulations we went through in our past lives, in these different captivities, Babylonians, the Persians and the Medes, the Greeks, the Romans, and now America, NATO, and the EU. This is going to be a time like never before. So if you're not being prepared, if you're not being molded to withstand in that day, the scriptures say, and I always have to search this one, Proverbs 24:10, if thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. Your strength is your faith. So if you faint in the day of adversity, it's because your faith is small. Your faith is little. Increasing in faith is very important. That's why the disciples, they prayed and they asked the Lord, increase our faith. Verse 11, Sirach 2:11. For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering, and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins, and saveth in time of affliction. You see? This is our power. These are attributes, qualities of our God. Merciful, pitiful, long-suffering, and forgiveth sins. Because if he didn't, we would be fucking through, man. We would be dead. The wages of sin are death. Read some more. Verse 12. Woe be to the fearful hearts and faint hands and the sinners that go 2 ways. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not. Therefore shall he not be defended. So you can't be faint-hearted, man. If anything, when you down and out like that, you should really be praying and really be, going hard for the Lord. Because that's when the Lord, okay, yeah, see, I told you. That's my servant. I know my servant. Yeah, my servant down and out. Yeah, my servant jacked up. But he still trusts me. He still believes in me. He's still calling on my name. You can jack him up as much as you want to. And he's still gonna rock with me. Because he gave you that spirit, man. He gave you that spirit to endure, to fight, and to continue. And Lord willing, be of the elect. Because the elect not gonna falter, man. Yeah, it's gonna be fucked up. It's gonna be shitty. I can only imagine the type of shit Job was going through, man. And being in that position. When you read it, you be like, man, fuck. You know? And we may be put in that position, man. But that's why trusting and believing in the Lord is so beautiful. It's so powerful because he can pull you up out of that. He can pull you up out of that. And what? Your latter end be greater than that beginning, man. But if you don't think about those things, if you don't meditate on those things, you're going to get sidetracked, right? You're going to get sidetracked. And if you get sidetracked and you let the demons fuck with your mind, you let the demons, put thoughts in your head, and you go, fuck it, man, fuck it, man. I remember when I was in the world, I ain't used to have to deal with none of this shit, man. Now you back in the world, smoking weed, committing adultery, worshiping idols. And you know what the scriptures say? He that knew the will of his master, or that servant that knew the will of his master, shall be beaten with many stripes. So you decided to leave, to fall out, go back in the world. For what? For thermonuclear missile destruction? Hell no. It's not worth it, man. Verse 14, woe unto you that have lost patience. And what will ye do when the Lord shall visit you? So patience is a virtue. Woe unto you who have lost patience. Patience is what? When you look up the word patience, it goes back to suffering. We have to suffer. That's the whole part. That's the part of the ministry. Suffering. When you go to, what is that, 2 Peter, the first chapter? Add to your faith virtue, and virtue, knowledge, temperance, patience, godliness, brotherly love, charity. Verse 15, they that fear the Lord will not disobey his word, and they that love him will keep his ways. They that fear the Lord will seek that which is well, pleasing unto him, and they that love him shall be filled with the law. They that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sight, saying, we will fall into the hands of Yahweh and not into the hands of men. For as his majesty is, so is his mercy. So that's pretty much all I got. You know, falling into the hands of the Lord is more beneficial to you than falling into the hands of men, because men are unmerciful. You know, men are unmerciful, but the Heavenly Father, when you read up, it said that he's full of compassion and mercy and long suffering. You see? But men on the earth, the sons of men, impatient, covetous. You see? So whatever you're going through, continue to pray to Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Beg the Lord to have mercy on you and continue to fight. Continue to fight. Fight the good fight of faith. Right? Fight the good fight of faith. I think that's one more on me. This is Revelation 3:11. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. No man take your crown, man. And the main man that can take your crown is yourself. You know? So we got to keep fighting, keep pushing. I pray this was edifying and exhorting in the spirit. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, B'Shem Yahweh Shai, B'Shem HaChakodash. Shalom.